Hello, good day. My name is Edwin Madu. Welcome to my channel. You remember last time I invited a special guest to the studio, my colleague Hafiz, and we did mention about the pathways through which overseas trained pharmacists can come to Australia to work as a pharmacist. We mentioned a lot of visa pathways like 491, 190, 408 training visa that you can apply to come here to fulfill your dream of becoming an Australian pharmacist. But I'm going to take it one step further today by explaining in detail what this visa is all about. So I'm going to be talking on 190 visa, which is a skill nomination visa. So it's state sponsored. So meaning that you have to be sponsored by a state in Australia to apply for this visa. What this means that you have to meet the requirements of the state you're applying for before you get nomination to apply for 190 visa. So 190 visa is a skill occupation visa that gives you direct access to permanent residence. So you become automatically a permanent resident of Australia. That is a good thing. So you are working here, and the implication is after 4 years of you staying in Australia, you're eligible to apply for citizenship. How do you come here to be a pharmacist? If you recall in our previous video, I did mention that the first step is you doing a sort of eligibility check where you send your credentials from your country of origin or where you obtain your degree certificate to APC, Australian Pharmacy Council, to check to see if it is in line with Australian standard. And once you have a positive assessment, the next step is for you to sit for examination known as Kaps, Knowledge Assessment of Pharmaceutical Science. So this exam is set to test your knowledge base on pharmaceutical sciences and other pharmacy courses to ensure that, oh man, you are in line or you're up to date with the current happening in pharmacy. After you pass the exam, you'll be issued with what is called skills assessment, which is a very vital document when it comes to visa application in Australia. No matter which course you're going for in Australia, you need what is called skills assessment. And for pharmacists, you get your skill assessed after you pass Kaps examination. So when you've gotten your skills assessment, you want to have your provisional registration with APRA. So it's a whole lot of process. But if you go back to our previous video, you see how I mentioned to you the steps and what you need to submit in terms of you lodging your provisional application with APRA. It's straightforward, but like I said, it's a long process, but don't be perturbed because people have done it in the past. So all you need to do is just to be consistent, follow it step by step, get all the documentation, all the documents they want you to lodge the application for. Then at the end of the day, you lodge the application. So after this, you want to go online, start looking for jobs. There are employers in Australia who want to sponsor you to come to Australia to work. So that is one pathway you can come to Australia to work through what is called employer sponsored visa. Then you can also come through skill nomination visa such as 491 and 190 visa. So this one is independent. You are not looking for any employer to sponsor you to come to Australia. So the only person that is going to sponsor you is the state where you want to go. So they will sponsor you to come to Australia to work. But before you do this, you want to go to the description section of this video and have a look at the link attached to it. So you want to know how many points you have, because different states in Australia, they have their own specific requirements in terms of you lodging what is called expression of interest for you to be invited to apply for this visa. Let's take for instance Queensland, which is one of the states in Australia. You are expected to have a minimum of 80 points for you to apply for 190 visa, which is skill nomination visa, that will give you direct grant to permanent residence in Australia. If you are going for 491 visa, which is a regional skill nomination visa, you need to have a minimum score of 65. The same applied to different states. So each state have their own specific requirements. So you need to go to the various state websites, find out what the requirements are, and see if you're eligible to go for the state you intend to go for. So at the end of the day, after you've gone through the requirement and you see that it's something you can go for, the next step is for you to create what is called expression of interest. but this time you are going to Home Affairs website to create expression of interest. So they will ask you a series of questions about your educational background, about your skills assessment, your job experience, and all that. So you just have to fill in your details. So at the end of the day, you want to come down to the state you are going to see if you meet their requirements. If you meet your requirement, you also need to create another expression of the interest in that particular state, telling them that, say, I'm interested in applying for social visa in your state. During invitation round, which happen from time to time in Australia, depending on the quota the state has, so they will go through candidates or applicants who have submitted expression of interest and see people that are qualified, people who have met the criteria to be invited. The state will invite you to submit your application. So after they've gone through your application and you meet the requirement, they will now send you to Home Affairs, who will now in turn invite you to apply for the visa 190 or 491 as the case may be. Right now at the moment, I can say that 3 states in Australia are open to oversee trained pharmacists. You have Queensland, Western Australia, and Victoria. So if you are outside Australia and you've passed your Kaps examination, you hold provisional registration, you have a valid English test, you can do expression of interest in this state. Remember what I said initially, you need to do what is called expression of interest. If you go to the link in the description section of this video, it will direct you on how and where to create expression of interest. Then if you go to various states, if you study the requirement and you find out, oh, I'm eligible to go for 491 or 190 visa in Victoria, Queensland, Western Australia, as the case may be, you still need to go down to that state and do what is called expression of interest. That way, the state will invite you, send the application to federal, who in turn invite you to, lodge your application. It's a good thing to go for 190 visa. After your 4 years of staying in Australia, you're eligible to apply for citizenship, and there are other benefits that comes with this visa. So overseas trained pharmacist, if you are looking forward to coming to Australia to work, it's a good time for you to make this application. Remember what I said, I'm not an immigration lawyer and we're not here to give you immigration advice. So basically what I'm doing is to kind of enlighten you based on information I gathered from Australian website or what my friends have done. If you really need the services of a immigration lawyer, I will ask you to maybe check in your state and see someone who is registered and competent, so that way they will give you more information. Then if you actually want to find out this yourself, you can go to the Australian website, the various state website, and get the authentic information yourself. So I am not an immigration lawyer. Don't come to my page and start asking me questions that I won't be able to answer. So I'm just sharing information based on people's experiences, information available on IMI website. This information are verifiable. So the links we posted in this video, if you go to the description section, you can see it for yourself and go and verify for it. It is about 190 visa, state skill nomination visa in Australia. Remember what we said, the first thing you need a positive skills assessment, and the only time you get skills assessment is when you are done with your Kaps examination and you've passed it. The Australian Pharmacy Council is going to issue you with skills assessment. Then you also want to get English test. Most persons in Australia want to go for PTE. I don't know what the reasons are, but it's very easy to pass. And the higher your score, high chances of you increasing your point. Like I say, is a point skill visa. If you go to the description section of this video, it will direct you to the point calculator where you know where you stand. 65% is the minimum score. Some states require you to have 80 points. Like I said, Queensland, you need to have 80 points if you are going for 190 visa. Some person might ask, what is the difference between 190 and 419 visa? 491 visa is a pathway to permanent residence in Australia. It's a visa pathway to permanent residence in Australia. So you have to stay in this visa for 3 years, and you also have to meet some work obligations and some financial requirements. after which you apply for a visa known as 191 visa, and this visa will give you access to permanent residence in Australia. So it is different from 190 visa in the sense that if I give you 190 visa, is a direct grant, is direct access to permanent residence. Take it this way, 491 is a pathway to permanent residence, while 190 visa is a straight permanent residence in Australia. So pharmacists are open to come overseas to lodge application for this visa. It's not going to be a smooth process. It's a long process. I want to let you know that people have done it in the past, and so many persons are here in Australia working as a pharmacist. If you are interested in coming to Australia to work as a pharmacist, just go through the previous videos we've done in the past. You will see how you can apply for eligibility check, how you enroll for Kaps examination, how we prepare for Kaps examination, how you can apply for job online, and that way, yeah, your dream of coming to Australia will be fulfilled. Thank you so much for staying through. In my next video, I will talk more about other visas and pathways through which you can come to Australia. And I will also try as much as possible to bring other friends, intern pharmacists who are already registered here in Australia, to share their experiences, so that way you'll be inspired and fulfill your dream of coming to Australia to work as a pharmacist. Until then, I'll come your way. Have a great day. Bye, Edwin. Bye.